Morning. I'm ready to get started. Oh, I love you more. So, let's see. Let me start my little timer here. Hello, great souls. So, I'm thrilled to come out and play today and get ready for some fun and hopefully some laughter. So, in preparation for today's exploration into the creation of our reality, we're going to do a list. And as Eckhart Tolle would say, there's no point in waiting. Let's start now. So the idea here is to understand and explore ourselves, and we're going to do that today through our friends. Or maybe not quite our friends, but so I'd like each of you to take the piece of paper and a pen, and we're going to make a list. Now, what I want you to do at the top of this list, at the top of this piece of paper, is write anywhere from 1 to 3 names and underline them of people that make you feel uncomfortable. Right? 1 to 3 names at the top of this paper of people that make you feel uncomfortable. Now, this list is not going to be used here. You're going to write down on this list attributes of those people, and you're going to take it home where you can look at it and quietly think about it. So we're not going to use it here, but you're going to take it home, and that's where you're going to unwrap the gift. Now, so you've got a minute. Start writing down attributes of those 3 people under their names. 1 to 3 people. Anywhere from 3 to 10 attributes. And it's just free association, whatever comes up in your mind. How they make you feel, how you think they feel, or about you, or how they feel about life and how it impacts you. Just write down a few things about them that impact you and can impact the way you feel about within yourself or about them. Okay, so we've had about a minute here. That's free association. Just write what comes to mind about each of those 3 people. Now, the next thing I'd like you to do is we're going to do another list of 1 to 3 people that you admire. Draw a name, write their names at the top, draw a line under their name, and the same thing. Write down those qualities that make you feel good, that you admire in them. So this list is equally important, and you're going to unwrap this gift when you get home as well. And I believe the minute's up, so I want you to go ahead and put that list someplace where you'll find it when you go home, and you can sit down for a minute and look at it. And what I'm going to do now is go over my list, what I've done in the last week while I've been sitting here looking out the window at the mountains. And one of the things that happens is when you get a lot of free time, then things start creeping into your life that you haven't been aware of, especially if you're quiet. As you're quiet, you start paying attention to your feelings. So that's one of the things that's happened for me. And there's a couple of people in my life that I've been feeling uncomfortable about. So I'm going to share my list with you about them. So the first person, they're scared, they're in pain, they need me, they're afraid, they want to be supported, they want to die, they're tired of fighting, and they are disappointed they cannot find answers and solutions. Okay, the second person is angry with me, blames me for everything wrong in their life, blames me for what they have created in their life, rejects me, wants no contact with me, cannot bear to have contact either with me or anyone else who has contact with me. Now, next on my list are two people that I admire. So the first person, metaphysical giant. They have a huge metaphysical background. Deeply determined and focused. Loves family and supports them. Sensitive and attuned to their feelings. Very giving and generous. Has a great sense of self-respect and self-worth. The second person, enormous courage and integrity, huge light in the world, shares their insights freely and lovingly with others, supports others. Their life and their energy are an example that others can draw from if they choose, and has great fun, laughs a lot, and uplifts others. So, after I did this work, I decided to go back and try and apply the principles that I know to these lists, because what do I know? I know that I create my reality, and I know that I create the people in my reality. And I know that if they're showing up in my reality and they're acting a certain way, that I am projecting that on them because I won't accept it about myself. Yep, that's the deal. So, here's some interesting observations I made about myself after thinking about these lists and taking ownership, and most important, following my inner compass and paying attention to my feelings. So, 1. I readily and easily accepted the negative attributes of those people with whom I was uncomfortable. 2. I found it very hard to accept the list of positive attributes as applying to me. Put another way, we are very quick to see our faults and very slow to accept our positive attributes. In fact, I found that within my life, at times, those negative attributes or those feelings that I had about other people were dominating my life, and the good attributes were completely invisible to me. I didn't give them a thought. They didn't play any conscious role in my life. So I think that's an example of the way many of us go through our life. That when we go through our life, we tend to focus on things that make us uncomfortable and not even be aware of the positive aspects of our life, even in that moment. So, the next thing I did was try and make a list of attributes about this reality. And one of the things I love in my life is Shakespeare. And I fell in love with him in college. At the end of my degree, I had some courses that I could take to finish up. And so I took some Shakespeare courses, and I was completely knocked out by how deep this gentleman was, how deeply he understood reality in the world, especially the garden of our mind. And one of the things Shakespeare had a deep understanding was that a profound understanding is that everyone in our lives is just a bit player playing the role we've given them, following the script that we've given them. And he goes over this again and again in his plays. Remember, they love the people in our lives at the level of their spirit, at the level of their soul, love us unconditionally, and have gifted us their energetic signature to use in our lives. So, the worse the role we've given them to play, the bigger the gift to us, the bigger the confirmation of their unconditional love for us. As Carl Jung wrote actually at this point, over 100 years ago, the people in our lives are just us. The people in our lives are just us showing up in what he referred to as 10,000 disguises. So, the truth is this, and you've heard it many times. Whatever is showing up in our lives is just a result of our focus and our emotion. In other words, our vibration. When we are not focused on something, it is just probable. This is pure quantum mechanics. When we are focused on something, then we actually bring it into existence in our world. So, before our focus, it does not exist. After our focus, it does not exist. We create it instant by instant with our attention. And each time we turn our attention to it, the person, the thing, the situation, it is completely new. So whatever it is made by our new vibration and our new place in this instant, and this recreation of them, because our focus is actually recreating them in this instant, is also completely new. So, the next thing I focused on is this. I live in a safe universe. I live in a world of absolute well-being, infinite love, and infinite expansion. And growing into this is certainly the most important thing I will ever do in this lifetime. And based on my experience, it could easily take a lifetime. Or as some people might experience an epiphany or a connection to spirit, they have a powerful knowing of what I just said, of their absolute well-being. They have a powerful knowing of this with absolute certainty, and they live their life out of this place of enormous power. So, the next thing I know, I create my own reality, my own world, within my own bubble that I call life. So reality flows into existence through us from our vibration, our feeling tone. We have beliefs and we generate feelings. Feelings are a vibration. Our vibration resonates with all that is, and based on our focus and emotion, pulsates what already exists in all that is into our physical reality. So, a couple things I keep in mind. One, we get what we focus on, period. End of story. There is no other main rule. Second, in our reality, beliefs rule. This is an absolute. I get what I believe, and it is irrelevant whether or not it's true. I get what I believe. The next thing I know is others are all that is, are God. They're infinite. And as I've gone over, they're gifting me their energy. If they're showing up in my life, they're gifting me their energy. And that energy goes through me and my vibration and then gets pulsated into physical reality, into a picture in physical reality based on my focus and emotion. Now, the energy of everything, including them, is just energy. It's neither good nor bad. So the beauty, the magnificence of this piece of paper that we're writing our play on is that it has no meaning whatsoever except the meaning that we give it. Nothing has any meaning except the meaning that we give it. So when I'm looking at them, I'm looking at the meaning that I have given them in my life. So if I follow my inner compass and pay attention to my feelings, then my life may be challenging as I address and change my limiting beliefs. And at the same time, it can be good. It can be very good. So, one of the problems I've encountered in my life is people look at me and say he doesn't have any problems, so naturally he has a good life. And my dear departed wife was one of those. God bless her. And it really helped me understand when I sat in front of Abraham on the Caribbean cruise and I talked to her about the situation. And she explained to me, look, you create your own reality. The people in your life have no choice. That's what she said. They have no choice. They are just reflecting you back to you. So when you go through your life and everybody you encounter is happy, you're doing it right. And when you don't, when you find people that make you uncomfortable, they're reflecting your limiting beliefs back to you. So, bottom line, people and places and situations are in our lives not to teach us anything. This is a totally impartial process. They're not here. We don't need to learn anything. What they're reflecting is our vibration back to us. So, whenever I get in an uncomfortable situation, like with the two examples that I had earlier, I try and maintain my balance, my point of power as the observer of both myself, my feelings, and the situation. And then as soon as I can, I ask, what is the lesson in this for me? What part of me is my vibration reflecting back to me that I have not taken ownership of up to this point? What limiting belief? Remember, the only way someone, anyone, everyone can show up in my life is if I believe that about them. The only way they can show up in my life a certain way is if I believe that about them. They show up the way I believe. Otherwise, they're God. They're all that is. They're perfect. And all powerful exactly where they are. And furthermore, I know absolutely nothing about them because they are in their own bubble and there's no overlap between our bubbles. No overlap in physical reality or anywhere near physical reality of our bubbles. So I don't know anything about them except what I make up. A couple of last points. This is a fix-it approach based on whatever is making me uncomfortable in my life. There are two other approaches I think are even more powerful that I've shared with you many times, and I'm going to very briefly go over those and call this a wrap. The first one is the book of positive aspects. If I start writing down positive things about them that I feel without reservation, in other words, I don't write something down that I say, oh, this is just the way they are sometimes. I write down the things that I know that's the way they are. They're very insightful. They're very caring. Whatever it might be, as I make that list, focusing on those positive attributes, they will change in that instant, whether or not they're physically in my life. But the next time they show up in my life, if I'm connected to those positive vibrations that I'm creating by focusing on the positive attributes of them, they will show up differently. And if I like what I see, then I know I'm on the right track. And if I don't, then I go back and I go over my list of positive attributes again. And after 17 seconds of feeling good, feeling these attributes as I read them to myself, the universe is going to send me more. After just 17 seconds of feeling good about them and what I see, the universe is going to send me another positive thing about them. And slowly but surely, step by step, I will change my vibration. And it's the old mirror adage. If you want to see in the smile in the mirror, you have to smile first. So as I change my vibration about them, they show up in my life different. And as I change it in a positive way, they show up in my life in a more positive way. I have done this countless times. It has never once failed me. And the last and by far the most powerful approach is to follow your excitement. Go in the direction of your dreams. As you take this approach, you will get all the spiritual growth and connection to spirit for which you yearn, as well as the life of your dreams. Or you can use any combination of these approaches, which is what I do. I find that I get so deeply attached and immersed in other people that it's hard for me to separate from them. So I'll do the first process of writing down what I see in them and then taking a look at that in myself and taking ownership. But as soon as I can make the transition to a more positive approach, I do that. Because remember, when you're looking, you are all that is. So whatever direction you look in, you create. And if I'm looking or feeling bad about them, I'm adding energy to that. So as soon as I can, I want to move that energy to a positive place. So they can show up in my life in a more positive way, and I can feel better about them. And the last thing is, in the spirit of laughter, I'm going to share a humorous observation. And it's an observation about the power of habit. So when I was married to Beverly, before she passed, in our house, we had a trash can that had a step on it. And I would step on that, the lid would pop up, and I would use it. Then Reba and I started our relationship, and the trash can was under the sink. But in our new place, we bought a trash can that looks like the old one I had 4 years ago. And every time I walk up to that trash can, without fail, I go to step on the pedal. There is no pedal. This is a different kind of trash can. And even though I know it, I can't help myself. I've got a built-in trigger. You know, it's a physical thing. I walk up to it. I go to step on the pedal, and of course it's not there. And every time now, Reba and I just fall over laughing because, you know, I'm trying to live in my new life in my old way, out of habit. And that's frequently what we find in our lives, or frequently what I find in my life. So with that, thank you very much, and I appreciate it.
Really, very brilliant, Miles. And actually, I just want to commend Miles because how difficult it is to keep all of us, which my last count was 46 people, totally engaged from a black box. Right? Good job, Miles.
Thank you so much.
I'd like us to take an opportunity to interact with Miles as was mentioned, the importance of taking time to connect sources, right? Because when we're struggling, we really don't have access vibrationally to the answers, right? So however it is that you know how to plug in and connect, right? I just want to give you a little quick example. So our friend Jim, GTS member who moved to New York, bless his heart, takes the time every single day to send to me a text between 10 and 11 that you know, you could tell it's so inspirational. Now, I've given him no restrictions because my old phone could only take so many lines, right? So he write in like 5 hours a day. It takes 10 words, but I know how he's trying so hard to put together this beautiful uplifting message. It really is an opportunity for him to raise vibration and pop into my work as one and let me say, oh, it feels so good, thank you, you know? So yesterday he sent me his hieroglyphic message, and I'm in such a tense state. He knew what I was trying to do. I looked at it and I'm like, it's just Japanese. I could not make sense of it. And the last thing you wanted to do is struggle over an inspirational message. So I wanted to acknowledge that I got it. And I just texted the back. I'm going to have to keep a movie I guess later. Right? So I had forgotten for the rest of the day. I get in my car, I'm driving, and I'm like, oh, I got to respond to Jim. And I was still in the so I was like, get connected, and I was able to understand what the beautiful message is trying to say to me, right? So I thought, well, let's get connected really quick. And I was like, oh, I'll just check it in with my mom, right? So here in my head, I'm going up again by her, just viewing. You know, like my wife, she's not where you are. Start where you are. That's all you do, right? And it was not my she said, honey, like everything's okay, no matter what I go through, right? So in this quick vision of being with my mom,